Hey everyone, it's John again with our special guest, Cory from the Urcast. And today we are going to be talking about pet cards. So if you're unaware of what a pet card is, it is a card that you put in decks even though it might not be an optimal card, the strongest card, or it could even legitimately be a bad card. So why don't you start us off, Cory?
Speaking of special cards, so I thought we'd kick it off with a card I actually use in a lot of red burn decks, and that is Viashino Heretic. Someone correct me in the comments, whatever it is. Viashino Heretic. It's 2 in a red for a 1/3, now Lizard, formerly Viashino. And it's 1 in a red, you can tap it to destroy a target artifact, and then it deals damage equal to the artifact CMC to its controller. So it gives you like this nice recursion or repeatable loop for destroying artifacts. It lets you ping their controller so you can blow up their soul ring and also hit them for damage. So you get a little insult to injury. You see this a lot in red with like your abrades and your chaos warps and 1,000 ways to destroy artifacts. But this one kicks a little sand in their eyes while you get to wipe their board.
Yeah, this is actually a really cool card. 2 mana is not a bad rate for artifact destruction and a little bit of burn. Like if they've got like a Chim-Li Inner Sun that's been bothering you or something, like bow, 6 damage.
Biggest thing I've been able to blow up with it is a Portal to Phyrexia for 9 mana.
Oh, jeez. And that's Portal to Phyrexia is just a really rough card to go against too. So yeah, getting rid of it is definitely, this is a cool way to get rid of it, dealing a quarter of their life total basically while doing it.
There you go. So
yeah, this is
teeing that one up.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen this card before, and I actually think I might try to hunt one down because it's pretty cool. My first card is going to be Reef Worm. It is a 4 mana, 3 and a blue, for a worm 0/1 stat line that says when Reef Worm dies, create a 3/3 blue fish token that has when this creature dies, create a 6/6 blue whale token with when this creature dies, create a 9/9 blue kraken token. So this is 4 mana for a card that doesn't do anything until it dies. So
Repeatedly.
Yeah, repeatedly. So it's like, there's reasons why I love this card. I love silly shit like this, and then I love the fact that because it's a Modern Horizons 3 card, it works really good with the Energy Commander. Because you could keep making token copies, don't pay energy, and when they die, they create the 3/3. And then it's like repeatable every turn. Is it the best? No. Oscillate Pride's definitely a better card to target with the commander. I forget his name.
But if you're running mono blue sacrifice, I mean, you're just I like this because it's like a inverse Wormcoil engine. So where Wormcoil like breaks down into smaller things, this is like the tapeworm that got bigger.
Right. And it's just funny. There's no way this card should be 4 mana though. I think like 3 mana tops, and it should be like a 1/1 or something. All right, what's your next card that you want to talk about, buddy?
Next card I want to talk about. So we did a little burn. Now, one of the other things I like to build my decks around is the illusion of choice. So there's a couple of things that could have slotted into this, but the one I decided to go with is Dash Hopes. It's 2 black, so black for an instant. It is whenever you play it, any player can pay 5 life, and if they do, you counter Dash Hopes. But if they don't, you counter target spell. So it's a counter spell with the option of letting people hurt themselves for 5 life. You counter your counter spell. So this kind of like fits into, like I said, a series of cards I enjoy. Like Browbeat is another one that's kind of like this, but it's a red draw where they can hurt themselves for 4 life or let me draw 3 cards. This is just a funny one where it goes, I'm countering your spell, or you can injure yourself and then resolve your spell. So how valuable is your spell to you versus your life to you? It's really giving you that option.
Yeah, this is a really cool card because it's like one of the few off-colored counter spells. You've got this Mana Tithe.
Mana Tithe is one.
Tybalt's Trickery, right? That's kind of a counter.
Tybalt's Trickery. There's another one there's another black one. I cannot remember off the top of my head. That lets you pay life to counter creature spells. Something. It's in black. I'll think of it later. But yeah, it is a rare non-blue counter spell, which helps with that element of surprise because no one sees it coming.
Right.
And it's 2 black mana, so it really is still on rate with counter spell, which is the best counter spell that's not named Mana Drain.
Yeah. No, that's pretty good. Only thing is, I wish it wasn't like pay life, which maybe like loss of life or something. It probably would synergize with black decks better if it was like loss of life or take 5 damage from this card.
Yeah, that is the one downside, is that because it's a pay life thing, you don't get your damage doublers. So if you're running this in Rakdos, you do have to kind of look at that. Okay, it's not going to trigger my City on Fires or
my
Torbrand or anything like that because it's
Letter of Aclazotz or something.
Exactly.
That's still a really cool card, though. And 5 life, that's not nothing. That's a decent amount, especially later in the game. That could be the difference between winning and losing.
Yeah, later in the game. The other interesting thing is any player can pay 5 life, so there is always that political aspect to it too, where you might cast, let's say, a board wipe. I play this, you don't want to pay the 5 life, but player 3 really wants that board wipe to come through because they're way far behind. They might end up paying 5 life in order to let your spell resolve. So there is also like another level of political shenanigans that can get played around here.
Yeah, that's true. I did know that, but I didn't think of it. But I'm very bad at politicking in Commander.
I love politicking in Commander.
I should be more focused because I'm pretty sure I die first a lot because I just didn't think of politicking my way into a better spot. But that's
you don't understand, John. I flash these baby blues and I never die first. And I don't have blue eyes. That's how good it is.
Damn, fair enough. All right. My second card is actually not a bad card. It's just a card that I don't think I've ever seen anybody but me play. It is Rite of Harmony. It is a green and a white, and whenever a creature or enchantment enters the battlefield under your control this turn, draw a card. So I play this exclusively in my Rith the Awakener deck. Rith, she can make a lot of creatures very quick. So if you don't know, Rith, 6/6 flyer. When she deals damage, pay 3 mana, 2 and a green, and you can choose a color. Then you create a sapling for each permanent on the battlefield in that color. So after about the first time you hit someone, you want to call green because you're going to have a lot of green saplings. But this card, I've drawn like 20 cards with this card. This is like a really good way to refill your hand, and it's 2 mana. You can cast it at the beginning of your turn. And like anytime you play a creature, anytime a creature enters your battlefield, token, it doesn't matter, even enchantments, draw a card. And it's got flashback for 2 and green and a white. I've never cast the flashback because I didn't need it, but
I'm not with those 20 cards in your hand.
Right? Exactly. I'm already having to discard all my good stuff. But yeah, this is like a really good card, and I love making tokens, and this works really well with Rith, and Rith is one of my favorite commanders, so yeah, it's just a really good card, and I don't see a lot of people talk about.
I think that's really the key to a lot of pet cards, is like, if it's a good card with a commander you really enjoy too, it gets even more of a pet card status, because it's like, it's a pet card within a pet deck. Alright, next card I've got up is one that other people have played because it comes in one of the precons, and that is Tanuki Transplanter. It's 3 and a green for an artifact creature equipment dog, which is kind of a lie because it's clearly a Tanuki. But either way, so it's a 2/4 artifact creature, and whenever Tanuki Transplanter or equipped creature attacks, you add an amount of green mana equal to its power, and then you keep that mana until end of turn, and it comes with Reconfigure. So this is from those Neon Dynasty kind of series of reconfigure creatures like the Lizard Blades and Komenu Battle Armor and those kind of things. This one here, it's just a lot of fun. You attack with it, and you're at least getting 2 green mana. You can use it in a Voltron strategy to soup up something that might have 7/8 power. Swing with that, get 7/8 mana on top of any other triggers you might have from other equipment. So it fits this really cool role of, for me anyways, of how much mana do you want to get? If you just want to get 2 mana or just get incidental stuff, you can leave it as an extra attacking creature. If you want to go tall and get a bunch of mana, you could slap it onto your biggest thing. So it's really got like that different flavors at the ice cream parlor of what do you want to do in any given situation, which I love. Also, fantastic art, fantastic price, because it's very accessible. It's another one of those like 50-cent cards. It always seems to perform better than you think it would.
Yeah, okay, yeah, this is a really cool card, because I've seen this card, but it's never, like, stuck in my head. But, like, green is already known for having a bunch of big things. So this can make those big things generate mana, which green doesn't really have a problem generating mana, but this is pretty cool. I see this, like, going like a Thrun, Breaker of Silence, like, Voltron-y deck.
I've used it in Thrun. I actually built a Thrun deck for someone last year as like a deck exchange. Slotted it in. Exactly what you'd think it would be. Thrun got up to, I think, 8 power. Had a bunch of kind of auras on it so that it was virtually untouchable at that point. And yeah, it was like 8 green mana. Okay, time to use my second main phase, just casting a bunch of spells.
Right. Yeah,
and because of what it is, people really don't interact with it. Like, it's not worth removing, so it kind of sits on the board longer than you'd think.
Right. Yeah. I mean, green has lots of the best probably color to protect your permanents, from destruction with like hexproof or something. So it's really cool. Yeah, it's really I really do like this card. That's Brain starts storming here a little bit. Like, that's a cool card. Like putting it in Ganax.
Yeah, right away.
You're right. No,
I just need to retcon it to Equipment Raccoon.
Yeah, that would be. Because, like, there's one other Tanuki card that they gave the dog subtype, right?
Yeah, but now that Bloomburrow's out, come on, let's hop on the bandwagon. Let's fix the wrongs of the past.
My Muera Trash Tactician would really want more raccoons. All right. I will go. My next 2 are kind of twofers. They're slightly different, but they do things that I kind of view as the same. So my first one is going to be Shark Typhoon. It's a 6 mana enchantment. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create an XX blue shark creature token with flying, where X is the mana value of the spell, and it has cycling. I will never cycle this card, ever, ever, never, unless I'm about to win or lose, and that is it. This card is coming down as an enchantment. I want my flying freaking sharks. Not a shot. This card's not very great, I would say. It costs 6 mana, so it takes a long time to get out. It's in blue, so unless you're Simic, you're not really ramping this thing out. And if it comes out, usually that's all you're doing for the turn. Not great, but I love it so much. I just can't. I can't. Flying shark tokens, are you kidding? It's so cool. It's such a cool card.
It's a cool card, and then there is one deck I've used this card in, actually, and it put in surprising amounts of work, and that was Brawlin and Shabraz. They're like the partner commanders, where one's a human and one's a flying shark. And it's because Brawlin you can pay like 1 red mana to give all your sharks haste. And then Shabraz is like you can pay a hybrid Azorius to give all your humans flying till end of turn. So you could sit there and go, "Oh, I'm making all these sharks that have flying, and I'm going to give them haste while we're at it."
Oh, that's awesome. I run this in my Tatiova Benthic Druid deck. 'Cause that deck, it's got green, so I ramp a lot to get a lot of lands. I'm drawing a lot of cards, so I can generate enough advantage where usually I can get this out, and maybe not the turn I get it out, but the next turn I can protect it and then get to where I can do some things to create a bunch of sharks. I have gotten a massive board of flying sharks in that deck like once or twice, and it's looks scary, but they usually, someone usually pulls the win out before I can kill them with my flying sharks. But the card that I am associating with this is Ominous Seas. So this is probably a much better enchantment. So if you don't know what Ominous Seas does, it's a 2-mana enchantment, 1 in a blue. Every time you draw a card, put a foreshadow counter on Ominous Seas and remove 8 foreshadow counters. You create an 8/8 blue Kraken creature token. It has cycling, so I'll never cycle this card either. This card will never get cycled. This will always come down. But it's blue. It's the color of drawing cards. Also, I run this in my Tatiova deck because I draw a lot of cards in that deck, and I just love massive tokens. It's kind of what gets my heart racing. I get excited just thinking about it.
So I have a side question to ask you. So the last episode that I popped in on this, and we were talking about the power scale and stuff. We talked a little bit about Yu-Gi-Oh! And how you play Yu-Gi-Oh! In the past.
Yes.
I'm seeing a theme with the cards you're selecting here. Is this confirmation that you are the Mako Tsunami of Magic the Gathering? Where it's just all... I got flying sharks, I've got krakens, I've got little wreath worms that pop into other whales and stuff.
That is an interesting question, and I think it's just mainly, I just think blue is a fun color, although most of the decks I build are black. But no, I wouldn't say that. It's because, I only like these cards because they produce big tokens ultimately. I like big, stupid tokens. That's what it turns into. It's like Ominous Seas, 8/8 big, stupid token, doesn't do anything else. Reefworm, eventually a 9/9 big, stupid token that doesn't do anything. But I think Ominous Seas, I do think is a much better card than Shark Typhoon. The fact that it could come out turn 2, it's really hard to interact with on turn 2 for most colors. It's not... Usually there's enchantment removal starts around the 3-drop range unless you're running white, and there's a few white pip cards that can do it, but most people won't use the resources on this until you get closer to getting the token out. But that's why it's one of my pet cards.
I like that of the cards we've talked about so far, our idea of a pet card is it could be potentially annoying by turn 10, but it's definitely not getting removed until turn 10.
I am a certain type of Magic player. I like making tokens. I am a token guy. What can I say?
All right, John. We got to ask the age-old question. Who's that Praetor?
Oh, jeez.
So... Hey, you can't say that because I specifically asked permission to talk about this card. And this is the most pet cards of pet cards. Because it is arguably the worst card we're going to talk about. So who's that Praetor?
Whoa. The worst card we're going to talk about? No, this card is way better than Reefworm.
Hear me out, right? Okay, it is the second worst card we're going to talk about.
All right, that's better.
So, Who's That Praetor is a card. I'm sure it's on screen right now, so you can vouch that it is a card that physically exists in the universe. For 6 generic mana, you can cast a sorcery that lets you choose at random, and then you create a token that's a copy of the chosen card. And John, you like to make big, juicy token creatures. Well, how about your choice of any of the 5 Phyrexian Praetors or Ebon Praetor at random?
I feel like 4 out of 6 times is a really good card. Maybe even 5.
So here's the catch to it, right? The reason why it's not a great card is one is random, so it's very hard to plan a deck around this because I don't know if you know this, but of the Praetor cards, they all do very opposite directions of things. So good luck with that.
Well, okay, so for these particular set of Praetors, though, they all, except for Urbrask, they all hinder. Well, I guess most of them hinder your opponent in one way. Like Elish Norn stops ETBs,
Right.
Jigataxis counters instant sorceries artifacts, the first one they cast. Shieldred
Filter is the most obnoxious.
Yeah, they lose life for drawing cards. Urbrask. Wait, no. This Urbrask? Which one is this one? This the one that makes their stuff into tapped?
Yes.
So that's okay. That's very annoying. And the Vorinclex is the one that halves their counters.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So those are all very good stally effects that can slow their opponent. Each one of them stops a strategy, and if you could get all 5 of them, it's like all 5 pieces. So
there's a specific reason I picked this card, and this is why this is the most Cory pet card of pet cards. So this is a card that's exclusive to Mystery Booster 2. I mean, it might get printed some other way, some future time. But it's from Mystery Booster 2, so it's not technically legal without a Rule Zero conversation. But I was actually in the group that did the very first draft of Mystery Booster 2. This was my pack 1 pick 1 when we did that draft, because I saw this card and I was like, draft the thing to do the thing, baby! And I got to cast it twice against other creators. Once I made Vorinclex, and once I made Elish Norn. They were both instantly removed, like, as soon as I passed the turn. But I have it. It is currently sitting on my desk, waiting, nay, praying for some brave soul who has a chaotic-like gameplay series to allow me to Rule Zero it in. To see the light of day again.
I see. I might consider it, as long as it's not your Hello deck.
Oh yeah. You imagine?
Do not want that getting copied like 2 or 3 times.
I gotta get a dice that's really like 1 through 6 or 1 through 5, but it looks like 1 through 6. So it's like I never hit Eben Praetor. It's weird.
No. How crazy. All right, yeah, that's a fun pick. That's a fun pick. All right, my last pick is a little less fun. So my final pick as a pet card is Demon's Disciple. So, like I did mention earlier, I build a lot of black decks, and that usually kind of involves forcing my opponents to sacrifice their things, particularly creatures. So Demon's Disciple is a 3 mana, 2 and a black human cleric that says when Demon Disciple enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. This card has been power crept out. There's a Cursed Marauder in Modern Horizons 3. It's 2 mana, and it forces opponents to sacrifice a non-token creature. This gives them the option to sacrifice planeswalkers, but that's comes up less than just having a random token to sack. But this is not a great card. There's a lot of cards that do this. I think like Crypt Gas also, or no, Plaguecrafter does it, right? There's like a bunch of cards that are similar that do this. But I like this card because I pulled a lot of it in Commander Masters, and that was one of the first sets that I purchased, and that was the first set that I started building my own decks with. So I had Marin of Clan Nel Toth, and this works really well with her because it's very repeatable. It increases her experience counters, and so that you have a higher chance to bring it back. So you're getting like forcing 2 sacks per turn for all your opponents, and it's still just churning your engine. You can sacrifice something else to get it back at the end step. It's a really cool card. It's not the best card because there's lots of other cards like Shieldred's Edict, which is 2 mana to force them. It's modal. Curse Marauder, Plague Crafter. There's lots of cards that do something similar, but this is the one that I've just kind of drawn to. It's a 3/1. It's not horrible stat wise as far as power goes.
I like that you're saying a Curse Marauder power crept this out, but I think 90% of the people watching, if they were to think what did a Curse Marauder power creep out, it would have been Plague Crafter or Fleshbag Marauder or possibly like Ravenous Chupacabra if they're really digging deep.
Well, like I said, that is like it's yeah, Plague Crafter. Plague Crafter is better. It is actually Plague is just an outright better card than Demon Disciple. Yeah, but that's why I don't have a lot of Plague Crafter. I had like 30 Demon's Disciples sitting in a box. That's the one I use.
The theme of this episode is like, it's what I got. There is better stuff out there.
There is, and that's what makes it pet cards. Is like, yes, it's not the best. There are better cards, and this Plague Crafter is definitely. You should not run Demon's Disciple because Plague Crafter exists. Or a Cursed Marauder exists.
And exists for a cheap rate too.
Yeah, it's 3 mana, same thing, higher toughness, but it also, if they can't sack, they discard. So,
but you opened Commander's Masters, and now you've got a tower of Demon's Disciple just building its way, scaling its way up the wall of your office.
Exactly. I have Demon's Disciples for days, and I am, but yes, yeah, right. It's not a bad card. It gets the same thing done. There are other cards that do the similar thing. Some of them are a lot better. Some of them are just as good. So it's one I kind of gravitate to because it's readily available.
Yeah, and what's funny is like, sometimes that's what it's about too. Like, you're getting the same effect, but you're going about in a way with a card some people may have never seen or ever thought of using. Because a lot of people, they might watch like an online deck tech or something and just go, this is what I was told is the most optimal card to use in this scenario. Like, I'm only going to use a Cursed Marauder, or I'm only going to use Grave Pact over Dictate of Erebos because it's 1 less mana, or whatever. But sometimes it's fun to kind of go the path less traveled and make people question what that card is you're playing.
Exactly. And on that note, I think we should probably end the video. What do you think? All right.
Only on the question of, in the comments, who's that Praetor? Who is it? Whom?
Yeah, and you should also let us know what your pet cards are in decks that you probably shouldn't play, but will play anyways because you love the card, you love the art, you love the flavor, it's sentimental to you, whatever. Just let us know down below. We want to hear from you, and with that, I hope you guys have a great week. Later.